Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. The car we're featuring today, a 2014 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Black Series. This is one of the Gullwing coupes. You know, I've got my 1955 Gullwing that I really enjoy. It's one of my favorite cars, and I have not driven this version, so I'm excited to do it today. This car we borrowed from our friend Graham Rahal, the race car driver. Why do we pick this one? Well, if you ever want to know what a race car driver drives on the street, this is a good example, because this one has been tastefully modified, so to speak. Notice it says Weistec right up here. Let's meet Michael Weiss. He is the president, CEO, the big guy, the head cheese, all that kind of stuff.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you know, I'm a huge Mercedes-Benz fan. Now, from the factory, this was a normally aspirated car, what, 6.2 liter?
6.2 liter, naturally aspirated V8, dual overhead cam.
And what was it, about 550 horse?
No, a little bit more than that, 620.
Oh, it was 620,
Yep.
okay.
Redlining at 8,000 RPM.
Okay, now this has been modified by you how?
So this has our SLS 825 package.
Okay.
So it's supercharged, long tube exhaust, and everything that goes along with that to make 825 horsepower at the flywheel.
Wow, okay. Now, did you go, is it a bolt-on supercharger? I mean, you go into pistons and cams and all that?
So this is compatible with a stock vehicle. So this is all stock motor, but we do have packages where we go above and beyond, and we can put forged rods and pistons and things like that.
But I mean, the 825 horsepower is on
a stock motor.
On the stock motor, because this way. Okay, all right. So 825. That's a 30% increase. That's pretty good.
Adding 200 horsepower and 200 foot-pound of torque.
Well, that's good. And a few carbon fiber pieces that I don't. Is that stock on the SLS factory?
So everything on this car cosmetically is stock. So right. The Black Series is a little bit wider, coilover suspension, carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber torque tube, slight repositioning of the transmission in the rear for weight distribution. And this was the final edition, or the send-off of the SLS Gullwing, was this package.
You know, I was at the AMG factory over there in Germany a number of years ago. It's very impressive. I mean, it's that classic thing of each guy building an engine, you know, and very slowly. It's not
one man, one engine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was fascinating to see how they do it. And even though this is not an inexpensive car, you almost wonder how they can sell it for the price they do, considering when you see the process involved and how much work it takes to do it properly. I like these cars. I have not driven the latest version of the Gullwing, which has come and gone, actually, because this car is no longer in production.
No, it's not.
So I think this will be a collector's car, much like the original Gullwing.
It definitely will be. And these have actually appreciated quite substantially since they were in production.
So how did it work? Did Graham come to you? Did you approach him?
So we've been building cars with Graham for a while now. We built this car in 2014 for Graham right when it came out. And the great thing is that Graham started Graham Rahal Performance, so he is now a certified Weistec dealer. So all these parts that we have that we normally ship to our dealers around the world, whether it's supercharger systems, turbocharger upgrade software, now Graham's doing for his clientele in Indy.
And AMG and Mercedes, they okay? They give you a hard time about any of this?
Not really. We have a relationship with some people there, and it's very symbiotic.
Right.
And AMG started in the same way that Weistec started, modifying something, and it's kind of turned into what it is today.
And AMG is now a manufacturer itself, isn't it?
Yes.
Much like Roof and some of the others.
Exactly.
Because you can do that in Germany. If you prove that you are legitimate and you're making a real product, and it goes through all the government safety standards, you become a manufacturer.
Sure. Exactly.
Here in America, we just you just take out an ad saying you're building a supercar and you can sell anything. You know, I mean, I'm amazed at the things people come by here to show me. You know, just kit cars, the horrible things. You know, Mustang 2 front end, and So in Germany, it's a lot more strict. You can't.
In fact, there's TUV regulations.
I don't even think you can have a car with a dent in it in Germany, right? If you have a smash.
Or even if there's tires that are worn or windshield wipers that are worn, I believe there's certain inspections that you need to have for safety.
Right, yeah. Because I have Germans come here all the time, a lot of German crews, and like my Duesenberg chassis, you cannot drive that on the street. Oh yes, what? You know, in America, you can drive anything on the street. And they're like stunned that you can drive a chassis on the freeway.
Well, I saw the horseless carriage plate you had on some of these cars in here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in Germany, you'd be in prison, you'd be in jail. It's hilarious. Okay, let's get back to this car. It's certainly an impressive looking car. I do like these very much, and with 825 horsepower?
825 horsepower.
Okay, pretty amazing. Is it much lighter than the standard car?
It's about, I believe, 300 pounds lighter than the standard car, and they get that from carbon fiber hood, which is a massive hood. I mean, I don't think there's many cars that have a hood that's that long. And the torque tube, which is normally aluminum on a standard SLS, it's all carbon fiber.
Oh, okay. And it can take that kind of torque, obviously.
It can, yeah.
Let's open the hood. Let's take a look under this.
Sure.
You know, I think the biggest fiberglass, not carbon fiber piece in America for a long time was the Viper hood. That was.
Oh, the whole clamshell.
Yeah, the whole
piece.
clamshell deal. Yeah. Boy, that is a long hood, isn't it?
And more carbon fiber.
Well, that's a nice, neat installation, isn't it? Look at that. And I like the green belt. Just adds a little.
Heavy duty.
Yeah. I guess that's true, isn't it? Is that tooth or is it just?
It's an 8-rib groove belt.
Now, what is this here? It looks like some sort of engine mount shock absorber. What is that?
Sure. So what they did on the SLS Black Series, AMG with the carbon fiber torque tube, they added a shock absorber to try to take this lateral load out of the driveline. So with our supercharger system, we need to run a belt straight up to get to the supercharger. So
right here, yeah.
Right here. So we manufactured a pretty complex bracketry system to incorporate that bracket and have all the OEM components that were shipped.
Oh, so normally this would bolt right to the block.
Exactly.
But you had to make this bracket go around this way so you could get the belt in there.
Exactly.
I see. Okay. Oh, very cool. Yeah. Well, that took some thought.
It did. So when this came out, we had a production system for the standard SLS. So we bring in an SLS Black Series and we start doing development, and we realized, oh, there's little changes here and there. So this was not this vehicle, but we had one more that we built for SEMA. So we got the car and we had about 3 weeks to build the car for SEMA. So a lot of this design work, CNC, was all done very last minute, late hours to get the system developed.
And you have your own name right into the cast.
Into the casting. So everything.
You do the manifold and everything.
Yep.
Wow.
Everything. The intercoolers, and that's underneath the supercharger.
But is that a Whipple? What supercharger is it?
It's Whipple screws, and then everything else we manufacture.
Okay, and then you put your Wow. Okay. Well, obviously that takes a lot of effort to do.
Sure. So everything we do is designed, CNC'd, manufactured in house. There's a large heat exchanger because it is an air-to-water intercooler, so we have a large radiator in the front. And underneath your hand on that side, under that carbon, there's a reservoir for water, and so we kind of everything's hidden away and tucked in. And the goal with anything that we do at Weistec is an OEM fit and finish.
Right.
To pop this hood and it look like Mercedes and AMG built this car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is it's impressive, and it certainly gives the look and feel of quality just to have, because it's not inexpensive to design and manufacture those kind of pieces and cast those kind of pieces. Do you use a 3D printer when you make those?
We do have a 3D printer, but these are all sand casts, so we go and we make production tooling to manufacture all these. And then, but for mock-up for engineering, we have a ferro arm. We do a 3D scan of the engine, with the motor in and out. We get all this data, and then we go to the design side of things.
And the drivetrain can take this additional horsepower, no problem.
It has, and this is our generic. We ship this around the world. The tune's very canned and safe, although we do have instances where we can turn it up a bit and the driveline does hold it.
Is it warranted?
We warranty our parts.
Right.
So if anything happens to our parts, we take care of it, but we have a very low rate of any issue. So,
so this is even though it's so well integrated, it's basically a bolt-on piece, isn't it? Because everything from supercharger down is stock AMG.
Exactly. So the long block is AMG.
Right.
We pull the stock intake manifold off, put our entire supercharger manifold and everything on, and then normally this is a 6-rib. But because we're going to a supercharger, we convert everything, AC, alternator, crank pulley, everything's converted with components that we make to an 8-rib belt drive.
So everything else can take the additional power and torque.
Sure.
Okay. Well, impressive. All right, let me shut this again. How long have you guys been in business?
So I started the company in, we'll close it all the way. I started the company in late 2009, and we launched the first product in 2010. And I was an AMG guy. I was working in the American aftermarket. I had a 03 E55,
right.
And that was a game changer for European performance and having, the 5.5 liter compressor,
Yeah, I've got one next
supercharged.
door here.
Yeah, I saw it when I was walking through earlier.
I know how hard it is to manufacture for the automotive, especially in California. Now, is this one of these deals where this is a 49 state only car, or is
So we manufacture products that are actually 50 state legal, and we're the
Okay.
only people or company in our sector that's doing that. From basic software to our stage 1 supercharger system and other things like that. So this is our SLS 825. It's the race version, has long tube exhaust. It's for Graham Rahal, a race car driver needs a race car. We also have an SLS 750, which has a CARB EO number. It's 50 state legal, and we sell that around the country to dealerships and also our dealers around the world.
And how much is the package once you have the car?
So the supercharger system's about $16,000 for this car.
Right.
But then there's ancillary items that you can add that support that. So it all depends on what kind of package the customer wants.
Oh, okay, okay. Does the customer buy the car, then take it to you, or can I go to a dealer and buy this,
Sure.
off the showroom?
So we have Mercedes-Benz dealers, and we have over 200 dealers worldwide that install and purchase the products from us. So our facility in Anaheim, California is our engineering manufacturing development center. So we're so busy developing new products that we rely on our dealer network for installations.
Okay.
Graham, for example, we built this for him because we have a relationship with Graham.
Right, right.
But now Graham Rahal Performance, he can purchase these products and install them for his
Yeah, I
own
mean, just the
clientele.
fact you don't get a cease and desist from Mercedes-Benz is very impressive.
I guess we're doing okay there.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. That is impressive. I mean, and you have to emphasize that because so many people do this, get that, hey, wait a minute. I've seen people try to do it with Corvette and Ford. They try to latch on to the name and produce, and boom, they get shut down right away. So the fact you've been doing this for 10 years it's impressive. Tell us about the brakes. The brakes are stock?
These are stock brakes that come in the Black Series. They are carbon ceramic brakes, and this is kind of the beginning of AMG and Mercedes offering the carbon ceramic. So they have some character. They work really good when you get them hot, but it is a race application. So
right. And that's a massive caliper.
It's massive.
Yeah. How many piston is that?
It's a 6 piston.
6 in front, 4 in the back?
Yes.
Okay. What does this car weigh?
3,600 pounds.
Really? Mm-hmm. It's so funny. It looks heavier to me. If you put it next to a McLaren or even a Corvette or something, I think the average person would think this would weigh more, but it's actually comparable.
Pretty light.
Yeah.
I mean, your 300 SL is what, 3,300 pounds? It's a pretty heavy car for how small that is.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, and substantial too. You got to have the A pillar and all of that.
And one of the interesting things about the SLS in general is that if you were to roll this car over, there's no way to get out of the car.
Right.
So AMG designed explosive bolts that hold the hinge. So if you do roll over, the door blows off so you can get out of the car.
You know what? My Countach, when I got it, it came with a little hammer. So if you rolled the car over, you could take the hammer and smash the
An emergency break glass.
Of course, now you're, where's my little hammer? Oh, there you go. Yeah, hilarious. Yeah. I like the explosive bolts. Yeah, that's very James Bond. You roll it over, boom, and yeah, that's it. Where else could we go? Anything different near the rear of the vehicle here?
So the rear wing is added for the Black Series.
Okay. Is this Mercedes Black Series? Is this you?
This is Mercedes Black Series.
Okay.
And so is the rear diffuser.
Right.
And heat extraction because the bumper and the fenders are wider. Same thing with the front, the extraction from the front wheels.
Right. Okay. And you got your supercharger badge.
Supercharged, Weistec supercharged.
See, I would take that off just to throw people.
Make a sleeper, right?
Yeah, make a sleeper out of it, yeah.
Although, once you see how loud this is, it's not really a sleeper.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But this was, or is, I guess was, they don't make it anymore, a really fast car just from the factory,
Yes.
the AMC Black. I mean, it was comparable with anything that was out there at the time.
Yes,
I mean,
especially on a racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an SLR, and that's 617 horse. And this is what, stock?
This is 622.
622, so basically the same thing, yeah.
But it is different. This is revving to 8,000. The 5.5 liter on the supercharged car is a little bit lower RPM, so it's a different power band and feel.
Right, okay. Well, it's very impressive. Can we take it for a ride?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's an electronic parking brake, so if you give a little bit of gas, it'll.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
a bit tank commander-y in here. You know, you feel that it's that sort of
It is. High window line.
yeah, you can't do this, you know.
So traction control will probably kick in until you get through the first gear.
Right,
You have to go full throttle and then it'll put the power in. That's the other big difference between a car like this compared to the SLR. The traction control systems are just dramatically improved nowadays to actually be able to put down a power number that's this big. Yeah, so we actually have at Weistec the world record for the fastest Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, is that right? And what is the fastest Mercedes-Benz?
So it's a 2008 CLK Black Series.
Right.
Very common motor to this. It's the non-dry sump. It's a wet sump version of this motor, 6.2 liter.
Right.
With our supercharged system. Similar to this, but a little bit more bells and whistles and upgrades.
Now, why would you go with a wet sump motor? Why not a dry sump motor?
Well, you know, just going in that chassis, it comes natively with the wet sump.
Tell me about the exhaust system.
So this is our 2-inch primary 4-to-1 long tube headers. It's 304 stainless steel and 2-inch primary, and this is coupling to the factory titanium catback exhaust, which is right about here in the center console.
Oh, very nicely. Now, see, that actually feels like it.
That's fine.
A number of people that come here and tell me, well, we're making 1,000 horsepower, and I drive it and I go, this really feels like 550, 600. You know, people just throw these numbers around. This actually feels like it actually has the number.
And we underrate our numbers 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
We're doing it on 91 octane California pump gas.
Right. And this is dual clutch transmission, right?
Dual clutch, Gentrack, 7-speed.
I get into something with a torque converter now, and it just, I don't know.
It feels like a truck.
It just feels like a car from the 60s, you know?
Yeah.
With that, you know,
exactly.
There's no seamlessness to it, you know. That's very good.
It's addicting.
Yeah, it really is. As a tuner, is there ever that fear that the factory stuff is so good you cannot get more power out of them? You know, I saw this happen sort of to the stereo industry. Remember, the first thing people did when they bought a new car, they'd take it to Ed and Al's Auto and they'd put in whatever the big Alpine or the Kim, whatever it is. And then, of course, the factory original equipment stuff became so good, they were all out of business.
And it's so integrated that to remove something that's built in like this is so difficult.
Yeah.
It's not single or double pin.
Yeah. Plus, to me, I find that, like aftermarket exhaust, it doesn't even seem like there are any that are better than what the factory guys are getting.
That's true.
But the nice thing about this is, you know, when you start with a product that's overbuilt to begin with, adding a little more power doesn't throw it on a whack.
Exactly.
You know?
It takes it well.
Yeah.
Where you really feel the power is when you get in that a little bit upper gear and it can stretch its legs a bit.
Yeah, I know it does.
You can only do so much.
There's almost no road you can legally use this thing on.
Not here at least, right?
Is there that fear for you that the factory will look at this and go, oh, he has done very well, this Michael. We will use this idea and come up with their own supercharger, and then you're sort of stuck, you know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, they're very capable, and if they wanted to do this, they could.
Right.
I think with just the way that things are and the limit that they can go to, there's always that a little bit extra that a company like Weistec can do.
Right. Are you primarily European cars? Do you do Corvettes, Mustangs, things
Primarily
like that?
European, so we started with Mercedes.
Right.
We have the fastest Mercedes in the world. We ventured out into McLaren, BMW.
You didn't tell me what the speed was on the fastest Mercedes.
Oh, so that car, quarter mile, 9.1 at 155.
Wow, and that's a street legal car?
And that's a street car. We have another car we're about to launch, and that car is going to be 2,000 horsepower. It's a full 25.5 roll cage drag car, and that should be the 7 6-second car.
Wow.
So that should be later on this year. We'll be lowering the bar even more with that.
Yeah. Well, everybody else is raising the bar, so you're lowering the bar.
In time, you gotta drop the time.
So getting the time lower, isn't that raising the bar or is that lowering the bar?
It's like golf.
Yeah. You wanna, my favorite Mercedes, I have it sitting over there, is my 68 6.3. The first time they put the big V8 into the thing.
I love that car.
Oh, I just love that car. I love the thin doors, you know. I love the non-claustrophobic feel. Oh, you know, the open, you got the sunroof, you got the big wide windows, you got the thin A-pillar.
Yeah, long wheelbase with the big rear windows.
Yeah, and you'll be dead in a week, of course, but that's okay.
But you'll do it in style.
You do it in style, that's right. So the car you build that's the world's fastest Mercedes, I've got a 2002 E55, and yours is a 2003, right? So it's basically the same car.
The first car that I had that kind of started my love affair with Mercedes AMG European performance was a 2003 E55.
Right.
And that was the first year that had the compressor motor. So factory supercharged.
Right.
And that was a good year. I feel like you had these supercharged Cobras from the factory. You had this really fast Mercedes-Benz sedan with all these factory supercharged options, and it was just the power that you could have with the comfort, with the reliability.
You like supercharging better than turbocharging?
I'm a turbo fan. Now that we're progressing down that road and technology's changed, and
right.
you know, we manufacture all of our turbo upgrades in house for all the newer platforms. But when you're looking at a naturally aspirated motor, that you want to have one upgrade that fits in every different chassis, because Mercedes-Benz puts a 6.2 liter, the 63 motor, in 10 different chassis.
Right.
So the exhaust is all different and how to make all that work, whereas the supercharger intake manifold is very common. It's one and the same.
And what does it take to drive a supercharger? I'm guessing 20 horsepower?
A little bit more than that. It depends on pressure ratios and things like that, and what stage we're working at.
Like when you say 825 horsepower, is that, do I, in my mind, deduct 25 horsepower because it's driving the supercharger, or is that with the...
Because we're measuring, so what we're really doing is we're dynoing this car on a chassis dyno and getting a wheel number.
Right.
And then we're adding back the driveline loss of the transmission and driveline.
Right.
So that number is after it's powering the supercharger.
Oh, okay.
Some engine dynos, they'll rate that flywheel horsepower with no alternator, no water pump.
Right.
But this is with everything being driven, all the accessories.
Dumb question, is your alternator spinning faster because you have a supercharger on it, or is it?
So although we change all the pulleys from a 6-rib to an 8-rib, the diameter of all the pulleys are the same as stock.
Okay.
So crank pulley, alternator, water pump are all OEM diameter, so we're not overdriving.
Right, okay,
anyway.
That's what I'm asking, yeah. Oh yeah, you're just doing 100 all the time in this thing.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's where it likes to live, at 100.
It's amazing how it lightens up at speed. The faster you go, the more nimble it feels, you know?
It does, and I think that's aero, I think that's the suspension tuning.
I assume the 750 model is the most popular upgrade.
Sure, so the 750 is, you know, there's certain things that we can't do, and that's still very fast, but that has OEM exhaust.
Right.
Stock injectors, this has larger injectors.
Right.
But in order to have something like this actually E50 stay legal is a feat.
I mean, this is a wonderful car. Like I say, you start with a basically excellent product, and then you just fine tune it. You know, this is the best integrated tuner cars, or certainly one of the best that we've had on the show.
I appreciate that.
It just feels original equipment. It feels like it actually has the claimed horsepower that it does. Most cars don't, because you know the claimed horsepower is done on some kind of special gas and tuned up to the hilt and everything else, and then the real world is always a lot slower.
Sure.
But this feels like 8 1/4.
So we ship these products around the world, and you never know in Asia or what part of the world what gas they're putting in the car, and they're going to put it on the dyno, and they're going to say, "You sold me something that's doing what you're advertised, or it's not." So, power levels and transparency is very important for us.
Well, Michael, thank you for bringing that. I'm very impressed. I mean, I love Mercedes products anyway, and the fact that you've integrated it so nicely, I keep saying this, but it does feel like original equipment. I mean, it feels like it's a part of the car. It doesn't feel like it's an add-on. So congratulations. I'm sure you're going to be very
Thank you.
successful with this business. So
Thank you,
check
Jay.
out the website. And if you got one of these, you need a few extra horsepower, this is the guy to talk to us. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.